We are live.
Hello, hello, hello. All right.
What? The internet is alive?
Facebook works. The world is still standing. So welcome to episode number 2 of Your Healthy Business. Dr. Teresa Larson, my boss in all aspects of life. Per Larson.
We should show the cameraman for this
I
one.
pretend I run this place.
Ray!
Ray G, Ray F.
If you're in San Diego, check out CrossFit 1904.
We're attached to them right now.
Nice.
If you hear banging in the background, that's what's happening. All right, so what are we talking about today?
Gymnastics?
Handstand walks.
Yeah.
No, how to succeed at corporate wellness. So, by way of background, when did we start doing corporate wellness? 4 years ago? 3?
Well, I refer to everything pre or post Magnus, our
Okay.
son. So, pre-Magnus, about
2,
9 months.
So, almost 3 years ago.
Yes.
So, we've been doing corporate wellness around here in San Diego at large organizations, very small organizations, and we've learned a ton of stuff over the time. What to do. What we've done has evolved quite a bit since then. We've got some institutionalized practices to help us grow and scale that include coaching, that include the DPT side, that include online programming, everything that we've found that companies want. So we're going to talk a little bit about why corporate wellness is important, why if you're listening, and chances are you're a musculoskeletal health professional, maybe fitness or healthcare, why you guys should be doing this and can be doing this. And then each of us will have our top 5 lessons learned from delivering corporate wellness.
They're very different.
A little bit different. So why are we doing these episodes in the first place? So call it our healthy business. We run a healthcare business. We're trying to make our business healthy, and our relationship, not just our relationship, but our health as well. As business owners, and that's a key component of this, and we found that all those 3 things are inextricably connected. So let's talk about why corporate wellness is important. So in our business, we've come to have a very firm belief that the front line of healthcare is where people are at. You got to meet people where they're at, and across a number of domains and a spectra of life. The workplace is or should be the front line of healthcare, along with the gym. And so the people who have the opportunity to do that are fitness owners and what we call retail healthcare. So chiros, physios, some primary care practitioners. It's usually DOs who kind of have the mindset for this versus MDs. Not all the time, but generally. So we feel that those are the folks that have the opportunities to create. Ray walking behind us. So create some real value in your community, in the business place. So in our country, if I had to take a bet on our economy, I would short the U.S. economy for a number of reasons, but a particular one is just health, right? The health of the population. There's a number of long-term pre-disease state and disease state markers that are increasing. And at the current time, despite healthcare change and accountable care organizations, etc., there's very little incentive to create low cost and quality healthcare, which is a travesty, but it also creates an enormous opportunity. And so these are the types of things that we've had an opportunity to get into, and we hope you guys do too. But let's talk about a couple of the key issues with health. So, Dr. T, just off the top of your head, what have you heard? Like, just list some things that are key long-term health issues that we know of.
Well, the big things that we see on claims data with companies is depression, anxiety is very high, so chronic stress. And then we also see low back pain, are 2 common things across the board, no matter what the company is. World Health Organization came out last year with depression being the leading disability in our world, and then low back pain is the 2nd leading disability in our world. So with that being said, when you're actually, boots on the ground or with these individuals at their companies and you see what's going on, which is what we do, we go in and we meet with all the levels of leadership, you see that there's, depending on who the leadership is, will depend on the overall coping mechanisms, stress levels of the company. So the ones that we've worked with were wellness programs have succeeded are the ones where the leaders are directly invested and involved in not only helping their own mental health, but realizing people just need to move more. So they're creating more standing work desk options, they're creating programs, bringing in programs that help their employees feel cared for, which directly decreases the chronic stress levels. But that being said, I think people still, no matter if they have a good company or not, still have a hard time managing all of the stimulus coming into their lives every day due to stressors at home, not sleeping enough, too much tech time, being on their phones, social media, the relationships around them, they haven't built maybe strong ones, or who they see is people at work and they don't have any family support at home. So there's a lot of things that go into health that's not just physical based that we actually look into with our company. And we've only done that, started looking into those emotional and mental components based on what we've observed.
So let's talk about stress. So I wanted to talk on two kind of key themes that we see all the time that are precursors to this. And you've heard the stats, I'm sure, but so obesity and stress. So I'm just doing some research, and one key stat that came up that is amazing is that in 1985, only 15, this is just the US, 15 of the 50 states had obesity rates over 15%, 1-5. So just, actually, sorry, let me back that up. No states had obesity rates over 15%.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward 30 years, actually 20, I think it's 2008, no state had under 15% obesity rate with an overall obesity rate of 34%. 2016 it was 40%. So in 30 years it's gone from ostensibly what was lower double digits, right? No state had more than 15, so it's called 12, who knows? Mm-hmm. To what's now 40% in our lifetimes, 40% of Americans are considered obese.
It's a lot.
That's, what do you do with that? Right, that's a tremendous opportunity, but it's also that is a travesty too, just because of the long-term disease states that obesity is a precursor to, which includes cancer, all the other stuff, cardiovascular, metabolic syndrome, all those types of things that we've heard about and read about in terms of research studies, I should say. The other thing is just stress. A couple months ago, there was a study that was published that talked about how millennials, those folks basically between 20 and 40, have the highest stress levels of any generation that's ever been measured. For a lot of things that you just talked to, and stress itself is also a factor in a lot of long-term disease states. So when I say short the economy, we don't do anything about this, right? That's not a sustainable trajectory for the country, let alone a specific company, a community, a person. So, you want to talk about what we learned?
Yes. So the takeaways?
Yeah, takeaways, like top five
takeaways.
Top five
Yes.
takeaways that each of us have from doing this corporate wellness stuff.
Yes. So
You want to do 5 and 5, 4, 4?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay.
That sounds fun.
A little tete-a-tete, back
Yes.
and forth.
Okay, so with working with corporate wellness, which is not, when we first started out creating Movement RX, wasn't on my radar. However, it was brought to our attention by a company, one of the largest companies in the world, the military, that they wanted some kind of corporate wellness. So that's when this was all born, doing the corporate wellness work. So the biggest thing I realized from it, because I was really trying to search for a way to get away from just doing one-on-one, because I felt like, okay, we have to make a bigger impact than just one-on-one. I love working and helping people, but I also know we have a voice and we have an ability to help people, and we have digital programs that we've created, and the purpose is to get them out there. So what better way than distribute them into a company? So the thing I found, my number 5 is you can make an impact on more people at once. So if you partner with an organization that's community-based, or that cares about the health of not only their employees, but the people that are their customers, then you have a greater reach and a distribution channel of what you've created. And that's what I think is really powerful, and I find fascinating and fun to pursue.
Bigger impact.
Yes, bigger impact.
Leverage. My number 5, I'm going in reverse order, is that I think you can, well, I'll say it and I'll describe. People are not proactive about their health unless the opportunity to do something is put right in front of them. So meet people where they're at. So we talk about that a lot in our business. But this is especially true. People there's a latent demand for this type of stuff. If it's presented to them, people will do it. It's rarely presented to them in a way that's that's just presented to them, and B, in a way that seems fun and engaging.
It doesn't meet them where they're at, typically.
It does not meet them where they're at.
Oftentimes the solutions are digital based, which means people are online more, which is what's causing them stress in the first place. So,
amen. Number 4.
Number 4 is when you brought up in the beginning, is corporations are actually the first line of defense of healthcare. So we consider, sending someone to a great coach is a good idea, or someone who's a really good physical therapist or a really good instructor in their field. That's great. However, people spend a lot of time at work and they spend a lot of time at home sleeping. So hopefully. But at work, what are they doing at work? What are the health options available to them? So if we can impact people there, then therefore their home life is going to improve. Their motivation to go into these other performance centers that may seem daunting will improve. And that's really where the messaging and the empowerment takes place to really make an impact. So that's where it's been pretty fascinating for us to be there.
Yeah. The empowerment, that's pretty... We've seen a lot of cool results, so...
What are the cool results?
Well, we'll get to the cool results, but I just trying to...
Rad results?
Rad.
Yeah. Very rad.
I don't use that word anymore.
We have seen some pretty amazing results, which, I think you'll go into.
There might be something we talk about there. So, my number 4 is that misconceptions on health are rampant. It's amazing sometimes, and these are kind of the stories that you remember, the ones that are the outliers, but still, somebody that we've come across held these beliefs. That means there's others that hold the same beliefs. So for example, hey, I take my meds, therefore I'm healthy. I don't need to do anything else or change any behaviors. Right? That's something we've heard on several occasions. I was just having a conversation with one of our partners who does this in the South yesterday, and he was talking about where the folks that he's talking to, their surgeons are saying, hey, no, the correct diet is not whole foods, it's bars and protein drinks. That's what you need to do. That's a healthy long-term solution, which obviously seems crazy, but that's being pushed out there. That's what people are hanging on to sometimes. That's okay for whatever reason.
Well, so that's you bring up a good point. So thankfully, with the work we've been doing, I have a couple colleagues that I've created through this work who are over at Mass General in Boston and are working with Harvard Medical, and it's amazing. Physical therapists, doctors, people in the healthcare field sometimes are the most unhealthy people. So I would say for any of you listening, will listen, that you have to consider the source of where someone's coming from in their knowledge base, and then look at their own health too. Where are they coming from? If you're working with a health professional that isn't walking their talk, then maybe it's time to consider another health professional, or just look for someone who walks their talk to get advice on nutrition and movement.
Yes, well, we'll hold the soapbox time for a little bit later.
Yeah, I like to get on a soapbox often about this.
Number 3, what do you got?
So I like the challenge of working with a company, because each company is different, and there's so many layers to connecting with people. So you have the HR, the benefits, the C-suite, then you have the employees, the managers. All of those people, you need to impact all of them to make it a success. And so I find that each company, while it's different, poses different challenges. And I like the challenge of it. I don't like doing the same thing every day. I don't want it to be Groundhog Day every day. And the companies that are really receptive to health and wellness talk together, because they meet at conferences and they talk about what they're doing. And so, but each unique company has characters that we get to deal with and work with, and some are in the military, some are not. They have veterans, and they're all working to do good things for the most part. So it's been really fun to to pursue this, because I went to PT school. They teach you one thing, how to be a PT, do one-on-one, and this is so much different. Now you're impacting leaders and you're impacting groups, and every group is different. So you have to be able to mesh your message with the group that you're talking to.
Challenge. Like that.
Yeah. Number 3.
My number 3. So what we found is that there are kind of the folks who are a little bit further ahead along the thought process in the wellness space understand that what some healthcare professionals do, but the healthcare industry is kind of siloed to avoid, is that so things like emotional health, musculoskeletal health, and things like self-confidence inextricably tied together, right? One impacts the other, and there's a way to go in there and affect all three through movement. But those are direct impacts on a company's performance. And so when, in the end, corporate wellness is all about it. Some will say it's the benefits, it's the social component of it, but in the end, if it's not working to cut it, the idea is it has to increase. You have to see bottom line impact. So it could be hard cost, soft cost meaning productivity and performance. But the premise is that those are the elephants in the room. So if you can attack those three, people in the corporate wellness world are generally attuned. They understand their populations relatively well generally, and if you can create a message along those lines, people are willing to buy.
Yes. Number 2.
Number 2.
Okay, so my number 2 is that in my profession, in medical profession, kind of deal these together, is it's daunting for health professionals to enter the corporate world because of they feel restrained by they need to see patients one-on-one and fill a quota and be attached to a hospital or a clinic. So this going outside the box, literally, and like having to negotiate and wait to be patient and build relationships and network is something that most of my colleagues in the healthcare world, it's like, it sounds nice, but that's a lot of work. And I find it fascinating because there's a way to make a huge impact that's needed. But for me, it's the fact that it is kind of daunting and it's very uncomfortable is why I like it.
Yeah, well, that's you can do it, right? It's not you got to take the first step.
And I also found that a lot of people want to work in the sports performance realm when it goes to physical therapy or coaches. They want to work with really competitive people, and then you realize that's business. Not really. It's not fun after a while. But then when you impact someone who's kind of the average Joe, like working to make a living and be with their family and learn about their life and doesn't even know kind of what why movement's important or how it affects the mind, like you can really make a huge impact on someone. And so I find like a lot of coaches, PTs, they shy away from this because it's not the high speed, low drag kind of community, but you can create that in someone and you can really impact someone's entire quality of life in this environment.
Awesome. So we tell ourselves 20 minutes. We got a minute 45 left. We're going to run through.
Yeah, we're going to do it.
I got my number 2, digital wellness. So if it's digital, it enables scalability, but you have to have some in-person touch points to actually make it stick and to make the most impact. So there are ways to do both, but if it's just digital, it tends to attenuate pretty quickly. What we found is that if we add headcount and touch points, then we get some, you keep the momentum going, people stay motivated. It's just social pressure. That's what it comes down to. People engage with people, not with devices.
Yes. Number one. I've found my purpose in health and fitness, the health and fitness industry. Like this is my calling. So it's very nice after 5 years of running a business, like finally realizing this is the main focus of where I like to spend the majority of my work time.
So much nicer that way at home too. My number 1. All right. So if you're a health or fitness business pro who can kind of observe and coach movement, you can make incredible results in the corporate wellness space. It's called low-hanging fruit. We got things popping up here. The opportunities are amazing. For the programs that we use and we make available to our partners, here are the numbers. So we've reduced the risk of vascular injury across populations by 6 times. We've reduced the number of employees who are in emotional health overload by 2.5 times, and we've reduced the number of employees who express frequent pain by 5x. So it can be quick. If you can coach, if you understand movement, tons of opportunities for you. You can do an amazing job. So you have the skills. It's just about going out there and finding those.
Putting in the work.
Yeah, getting a contract. And these are things that our partner program we can help you with. We've got we've done some presentations for that population on how to land your next corporate wellness client. Premise of this though is just to say that there's an opportunity there for you guys. There's an absolute need. It's not just about the business, it's about creating a better community, and it's about meeting people where they
They're
are
at.
at.
Yep.
So we're past 20.
All right.
So I think we're going to end. We
Thank
will
you.
stick around after the video and answer any questions that are in the comments, and we'll post this in a couple of other places for everybody to listen to.
And you can put your
long-term.
partner program in the comments.
Yeah, I'll add
too.
some information on the partner program too,
Great.
for those that are interested.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Thanks.